Good evening and welcome. Today is Wednesday, November the 20th, 2019, and this is the City of Anderson Board of Architectural Review. First item on the agenda, any addenda?
We have one additional item to discuss tonight that is not on the agenda.
All right, we'll take that up after the initial public hearings, which we'll move into right now, being BAR 1947. Jeffrey.
18. The applicant is requesting approval for two changes to the building at 414 South Main Street in the Downtown Historic District. The property will be the new home of Blue Rose Apparel. The applicant is seeking to repaint the red portion of the building front. The new color will be glistening gray. The trim would remain white. There's a color sample that's being passed around up front there that has the actual color. The applicant is also seeking to add a new sign on the front of the building. New sign would be a metal hanging sign with acrylic letters on a black aluminum bracket. The sign would be white with black lettering and hang above the front door. There. When reviewing this application, the board should focus on the standards set forth in Chapter 8 of the Downtown Design Guidelines, which are design guidelines for signs, and Chapter 10, design guidelines for colors. Following sections apply to this request. The policy states to design a sign to be in balance with the overall character of the property. Under the next policy, it says a hanging sign may be considered, and a sign should be in character with the material, color, and detail of a building. In terms of the color change, that you should use colors to tie together the entire storefront, and when choosing a color, consider the context or major colors on the surrounding buildings. The board must decide if the proposed changes meet the above criteria. A sign permit will be required prior to installation of the sign. Happy to answer any questions you have for staff, and the applicant is present tonight as well.
Very good. All right. Storefront going from the red to an attractive gray. Now, clearly, this entire portion of the block is under construction, but a nice, attractive change. Any concerns with the color? The sign, hanging arm sign, metal face, vinyl graphics, we've approved time and time again. Question, John?
Is the paint color is just for the first story?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And is there any... My only concern is physically that if somebody next door comes up with an awning, it's going to obscure this sign, so the sign may have to be... We've thought about the building as a whole, and whether the developer had any particular plans for tying everything together.
The developer has presented plans for the renovation of the building to this board. I do not believe that renovation plan will be taking place, other than what is necessary for the structural stability of the building. So.
All right. Thank you.
And other businesses along there have the hanging sign, so I think.
And there's enough distance between to where
It's a very attractive bracket.
it is. Isn't that nice?
Will it be illuminated?
It will not be illuminated. Correct. Right. They may also have some vinyl graphics just having store hours on the front door as well. I do not have a graphic for that, though.
Okay. We'll, of course, leave the application open for that. If need be, come back.
Okay.
Unless you want us to approve store hours on the front now? I mean, presently it's got a French door remaining, or?
So it's got the French door on there now with that door staying the same, right? So where would you put the hours? Okay, on one of the windows.
Any other graphic signage on the windows? Idea as to the size?
Additional signage, just store hours, open and close time possible.
Right, but I'm okay. And the size of the store hours, approximately?
Just a guess, 12 by 18
Okay.
max.
So okay. Amending the application for store hours in an area of 12 by 18 on one of the front windows. Any concerns with that? Don't see the necessity in having to come back just for the store hours, do you?
All of that. will be gone.
It's gone, yeah. New business. All right, so with that, any further questions? Is there a motion? A motion from Bill, second from Moyer. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Very good, thank you. Moving on now to BAR 1948.
The applicant is seeking approval for exterior changes to her house at 2208 East North Avenue in the North Anderson Historic District. Property is a single-family residence. The applicant is requesting approval to change the shutters on her house. The shutters will be black wooden shutters and a matching raised panel design. The shutters will have workable hinges and shutter dogs attached. The shutters will be lengthened to cover the entire window height. The existing shutters are a little bit short on the top and bottom, and so she's adding a little bit of length so it would cover the complete window. There's information in your packet from the manufacturer showing the raised panel shutter that she's using here. That will match what she has on the house. And then the shutter dog type hardware as well that she's adding on there. So they will be operable shutters with the same design with the changes of adding the proper hardware. So. When reviewing this application, the board should focus on the standards set forth in Chapter 3 of the Residential Design Guidelines, which are for rehabilitation of historic resources. The following sections apply to this request. First policy states to preserve historic architectural features and details, preserve and maintain significant stylistic and architectural features, and avoid adding elements or details that were not part of the original building. The next policy states that deteriorated architectural details should be repaired rather than replaced whenever possible. And the third policy, replace historic features in kind when restoration is not an option. Once again, the board must decide the proposed changes meet the above criteria. I'm happy to answer any questions you have for staff, and the applicant is present tonight as well.
Super. I appreciate the attention to detail. Very nice. Comments, questions?
Spending this money and making our house look better.
I agree. I think we always encourage this kind of authentic action.
Very nice. Well, if nothing further, is there a motion? A motion from Amanda, second from Jill. Anything further? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Very well done. Thank you. And now on to BAR 1949.
The applicant is requesting approval for a sign change at 121 North Main Street in the Downtown Historic District. The property is changing from Deja Vu to Crush 3. The applicant is seeking to change the signage on the front of the building. They'll reuse the existing cabinet. This would be the new sign that would be going in its place. It'd be similar in construction to the old sign. They have a black aluminum base, acrylic inserts. So the only part that will be lit will be the lettering, very similar to what's there now. This would be looks to be more black and gold, whereas the other one was more black and white, but same sort of partially illuminated type of sign. Again, when reviewing this application, the board should focus on the standards set forth in Chapter 8, Design Guidelines for Signs. The only difference from this one is that it does also state that a flush-mounted wall sign may be considered. Once again, the board must decide the proposed changes meet the above criteria. A sign permit is required for the face change as well. Any questions you have for staff, and the applicant is here tonight as well.
Essentially an updating of the existing sign, continuing with the black metal face, acrylic inserts, internal illumination. Any concerns, comments? Very nice. Okay.
Right.
Do we have a motion? A motion from John, second from Mary Lou. Anything further? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Excellent. And when's the changeover happening?
We were waiting on you guys.
Well, now we're waiting on you. Wait, what?
Tomorrow.
Very good. Look forward to it.
My name is Alden Wheeler. I'm the owner.
Excellent.
And I can't wait to, flourish in the community and probably seen my bail bond sign. I'm also a private investigator, but I'm also on the board of Foothill Alliance I'm an investigator.
Mhm.
I do all their investigations on human trafficking and sexual assault. So again, this is for us to be a safer community. That's one of my primary goals.
Wonderful. Well, thank you. Welcome to downtown.
Absolutely.
Glad to have you. And now on to the addenda item, Jeff.
Yes, John's item, and so I'll let him lead most of it. The back part of the restaurant here is the patio now. There used to be a deck back there. Some time ago, he had gotten plans drawn up, and they were approved by the board to enclose that portion with a roof and a walled enclosure. He is looking to go in a different direction now and is seeking, I guess, approval or guidance from the board in the direction to go here. So I don't know all the details, so I'll turn it over to John to sort of illustrate what he has in mind.
Thank you. Well, I'm glad you brought these. My wife hijacked my set. All it takes is time and money, right? So sometimes the time's not right and sometimes the money isn't either. So at this point, we drew these up in 2012 with the intention of doing a lot more live music and events and that type of thing downtown. And the marketplace was different at that time, and it's different now. So our idea is to re-landscape, to actually implement the landscape portion of this plan and totally throw out everything else we had discussed about the superstructure and infrastructure. By that, I'm referring to this piece right here. The original drawings we had done were to put in a new airlock. And this is actually a nice drawing. And we had another architect do a more elaborate presentation of it. So this is actually the scaled down version we want to go back to. One of the drawings that we had submitted had a much larger T-shaped, almost something you'd find at a golf resort or something like that. It's really not in keeping with the style of the building or the rest of the architecture surrounding the neighborhood. It's actually what I would consider over the top. So what we really want is a nice patio space, exactly where we had the original seating. And I know all of you have been out there and would probably agree with me that that deck was in need of some type of repair, so we just ripped it off in anticipation of replacing it with the plan that we had approved in 2012, the cost of which was running about $300,000, which was ridiculous. That incorporated a lot of brick masonry, which we aren't going to be doing, but what we are going to have is a seating space right here, a very simple structure like this, similar to what Figs has right next to their building, basically a post and beam construction. The gabled roof you've got right here that's tied onto the building and comes on. Change we're going to be implementing is this will not be stepped up here onto a platform. It'll be grade level, right? But the size and shape of this are almost identical. We're going to have the shed roof come out off the side here to cover the two doors that we have right there, and that's going to be it. I don't have a drawing for you right now, in particular or detail. I'm working with John Hipsher and his people. Ryan McKibben was the original architect that we had employed. And really right now, I just needed to get, yeah, John, that's okay, if you wanted to go ahead and get the grading work done and the retaining walls put in. Where the gate is at the far end of the driveway, the gate was part of this, and the fencing was part of this plan. So we got the fencing work done, and then stopped right there. So what I'm letting you know is, we're gonna begin with the grading work probably in the next 30 days, weather permitting. Get the old asphalt up. We're gonna be coming back with, the concrete pad here instead of this raised platform. And part of the reason with coming with this down to grade rather than going with a deck structure here is because the door set is actually elevated a full foot over the floor of the restaurant itself. And we did that so that you could step up to get onto the deck. The deck not there, I can actually lower the door set down to almost grade level and make it a much safer entrance back to the building here. So everything's going to be better. Right now, we have no plans of changing the doors. If I do, I'll be bringing that back to you with the exact type of door we want to put on the back. But right now, that's step 3. Step 1's the grading work. Step 2's the concrete where we want it here. And then step 4 will be the addition of this covered porch area. If the money runs out, we won't do the covered porch area at all, but we'll at least have a more attractive place to sit al fresco and dine and better looking parking lot. So the plan elevations, the catering storage, none of that's going to be done. The original plan had also a, towards the back corner on the Federal Street side, a place for a dumpster and a screen, a big fancy brick thing around there. We don't need that anymore. At the time, we did not have a dumpster across the street like we do now that everybody's sharing. So that's kind of it. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have. We're really not modifying a whole lot to the landscape plan, which unfortunately I don't have here with me. Don't think.
Okay, so what are you asking from us for tonight?
What I'm trying to tell you is we're going to get started on this. What we're not going to do is this full-blown thing.
Sure.
It's going to look like Disneyland. What we are going to end up with is 40% of it. As this structure here isn't going to be there. We had initially said, give me a bandstand here. That's not going to go. We're just going to pull out this covered space with very simple, that pavilion that Figs has that they did for about $11,000. I'm probably going to beef it up and go with 6x6s, and when Dixie's got a drawing for me, I'll bring you exactly what that looks like, but it won't be any dissimilar to what we have right here, other than a little larger. It won't have shutters on it. It'll be open air. We'll put some ceiling fans and some lighting in it, that type of thing.
But for tonight, though, what are you seeking approval for tonight?
I'm really not sure, John. We've already
Me either, John. That's what I'm asking.
Grading for the patio.
Maybe Jeff can help guide us.
we've already approved something elaborate, so I'm asking you what you need me to get to. Do I need to reopen this? I mean, I'm not going to be going what we've already approved for $300,000. I'm going to be doing something that's almost identical to this from a landscaping standpoint, maintaining much of the parking here. But I've got to pull all this asphalt up. And then I've got to cut the grade in here to put a retaining wall in and pour concrete here, and then probably stop for the winter and then come back before St. Patty's Day with a covered structure here.
So I think that the patio part where you're pouring the concrete, that's really at grade. That's not something that we would normally approve.
Right.
And so I think really the only part of this that really needs to be approved will be the drawing when you have the drawing available for the revised structure.
For the revised structure
Right.
that's going to be here. Right.
And so, we probably have a new application at that point, just because it's been so long since the old one. But I think we would just do a new application and get the drawing and bring, when you're ready to do that, bring the drawing back. But I think the other work can go without BAR approval. So, because it's basically at grade type work.
That's,
Yeah,
right,
there's a little bit
agree.
of cut and fill here, because it does pitch from here about 3 feet from here to this point in elevation. So this is all going to be probably grade level, and we'll use that, whatever we're scraping up here to backfill here.
Sure.
This, and again, I apologize, because this isn't the exact drawing we approved. What we approved had a retaining wall here, where we use that fill. What we want is a little bit more green space back there, a little bit more treescape, a little bit more shade. I don't want to come back with asphalt here per se, or concrete. What I'm looking at is maybe a grass paving system that'll give us a semi-permeable surface. It's a little bit more environmentally considerate and still functional as parking space, but also as play space as well. So we don't have enough green space downtown. I'm trying to go ahead and maintain parking, but also replace it with something that's going to be environmentally safe and sound.
Sure.
So with your permission, we're going to go ahead and start grading. Without your permission, we won't be doing any superstructure work on a building until I bring you something that does meet.
As Jeff's indicated, the grading doesn't need to come before us. I think the idea that you will be bringing back before us, the pavilion, similar to we've approved before, would be met with approval. Look forward to that, design. But I think you're on the right path.
Great.
Yeah, if there's anything else that's ancillary that requires board approval, and Jeff will let me know. If it's, like, we have these planters here, but again, these are brick. Dixie doesn't want brick. It's not really in keeping with the rest of the surroundings. She's looking for maybe a river rock or something like that that's a little bit more softer,
Okay.
a little bit more park-like, if you will.
All right. Very good.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you.
All right, next we have the approval of the minutes from last month. A couple of minor typos, misstrokes that Amanda's pointed out. We'll get that taken care of on page 8. Jeff replied it would be no, the way it was phrased.
And on page 1, you have me present and absent. I'm glad I was here in I was absent.
The video is kind of funny, so.
Yeah.
But with those corrections, anything else? Motion to approve from Mary Lou, second by Bill. Anything further tonight? Jeff? All right. If there's nothing further, we'll motion to adjourn. Thank you, Moyer. Jill, second. All in favor? We are adjourned. I'll comment that here as well. I missed, I said both.